Thank you. Just a reminder that the fire exit is over in the corner there, and can I ask you to either put your phones on silent or to switch them off? So this is the governance meeting on the 22nd of April 2025. Do I have any apologies for absence apart from Councillor Martin Buffy?
No other apologies, thank you.
Thank you. Minutes of the previous meeting. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of March be approved as a correct record. Do I have a seconder?
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Does anyone wish to comment on the accuracy of the minutes? I have no comments, thank you. Are you all agreed that I may sign the minutes as a correct record?
Agreed.
Thank you. Does any member have any interest to declare in respect of any item on tonight's agenda? Councillor Emery.
I suppose I should declare that my ward, Holbrook West, comprises a small part of the unparished area.
Thank you. Item 4 is announcements. I do not have any announcements. So tonight we are joined by Aisha Nottage, Democratic Services and Elections Manager, who will now introduce this report. Thank you.
Thank you. As you'll know, in December 2024, the Governance Committee met and approved the terms of reference for a community governance review of the unparished area of Horsham Town. It was agreed that formal consultation will take place for 6 weeks in May-June. Arrangements have now been made to carry out the consultation from the 1st of May to the 16th of June, and the leaflets are due to be delivered to every household across the unparished area from the 1st of May and should be completed within a week. As you'll see, you've got the questionnaire and leaflet within your agenda packs. There's a link to the website which will, on the leaflet, which will direct residents to the consultations page, and there'll be further information and FAQs made available prior to the commencement of the consultation period next week. Paper copies of the questionnaire will also be available for collection from reception at our offices here at Albury House. Just to note as well that the questionnaire in the agenda pack doesn't contain the final formatting, but it's the wording that will be used in the survey if approved tonight. The consultation will also be promoted on social media and in town with banners and posters, and we're encouraging any person who lives or works in the unparished area or who has any other interest in the area to respond to the consultation.
Thank you. Before I open up the floor, in the light of the fact that members have had some comments, I propose that the first recommendation is altered, and I do apologise for this, but I think it should read to approve the consultation documents in principle as set out in appendices to the report. And I'd like to add a second recommendation, which is to read delegate authority to the Democratic Services and Elections Manager to amend the consultation documents as she deems appropriate to reflect any comments made by members of this committee or otherwise. Do I have the meeting's consent? Thank you. Okay, so does any member have any questions or comments? Councillor Bevis.
Good. Thank you, Chair. I'm just intrigued by the questionnaire, question 1, the facilities and services, which is a bit of a mishmash, really, because the first one, shops in the towns, well, they're there. HDC doesn't have a great deal of influence over those. We own some of them. We try and help the shopkeepers maintain their shops and make them nice and everything, but pretty limited involvement otherwise. The other things, yes, I can see that they're all currently HDC facilities, but I'm a little bit surprised that I think one of our best facilities, well, you know, that's me personal, are the sports facilities in the town. I mean, we've got, and I don't think it really comes under parks and open spaces. We've got the pavilions, we've got tennis courts, we've got football pitches in the middle of the town, and it'd be really great to get people's feedback on that as well. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I think that's been noted. Councillor Vickers.
Thank you, Chairman. I was going to mention the sports facilities as well. I support that view. Thank you. I'm perfectly happy with the questionnaire and the flyer. Can you tell me what sort of response we're hoping to get and what sort of level of interest is likely to be generated by this? I think there's a very difficult to get people engaged, and I wonder if there's any other alternative ways of engaging with people, especially the older population who don't necessarily understand how to use social media or online forms, filling questionnaire in. I know you said you can come and pick up a leaflet from here, but is there any other places we could leave those questionnaires or engage more easily, maybe? I don't know. I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
So I think obviously at least by getting the leaflets delivered to every household, we're not kind of relying on social media to inform people. But I take your point about kind of giving all residents the opportunity to respond. So yes, we'll have them available in reception. If there are other locations, we can get them printed and left there. I'm happy to take suggestions of where you think.
Can I suggest maybe libraries would be a good idea?
Councillor Clark.
Two things. One is a general comment. I read this, especially the proposal. And basically, yeah, we said we'd do an online questionnaire with paper questionnaires aware for completion, but I have a major problem with it in terms of transparency, in terms of consultation, because the next steps basically say the approved leaflet will be printed and distributed by staff employed, blah, blah, blah. My question is, if you're going to do the leaflets, why don't you do the questionnaires at the same time? It would be logical because you've got people going out shoving stuff through letterboxes. So why not do the questionnaires through the letterboxes at the same time? So that's my general comment on
It's a number of people in the household.
the consultation thing. And I do have then comments on the questions at the end, of course. So do you want me to continue or do you want to answer that one first?
I think we'll let Aisha take that one.
Thank you. Part of the issue is the number of, because what we want to do is give everyone in the household an opportunity to respond individually. And the issue is the number of people in each household we don't necessarily know. So to be posting the questionnaire through, in theory, yes, you could post one through, but you know, there could be 6 or 7 people living in one household.
Well, then I would challenge that because all you need to do is in the leaflet say, here is an example of the leaflet. So either scan and print your own to supplement the numbers, or we've got other leaflets which you can collect. In other words, you're giving them a head start in doing it. I appreciate the point you make that you don't know whether you've got 1, 5 or 10 people in the household. But I'm saying that if you give them one, they can either scan it, because a lot of people have scanners, or whatever, or do it on, an iPad, whatever. And I'm just thinking we are missing a trick here. If we're going to distribute stuff to people's households, make the most of it and give them a copy of the questionnaire as well, is what I'm saying. Thank you. And I've got questions for the...
I think the tricky point here probably is that we kind of approved this process back at the first meeting where we set the budget and things like that. So it does make it more difficult now to do this. And obviously, if we start to get a lot of paper responses, and sometimes when you give people paper, they do fill it in and return it. It then adds into the time. Pardon?
Well, that's good, isn't it?
No, it is.
Which is what you want.
It is. We do want responses. But if people can respond online, obviously that makes the processing time for us to analyse the responses a lot easier.
Well, I'd like to register my unhappiness at this because I think we're missing a trick. And I think, especially with older members of society, as Claire said, who, don't do online or wouldn't know how to do a smartphone or whatever, who might not be very mobile, so they can't go and get a questionnaire. We're missing a trick and we're excluding a certain number of members of society, and I think that is a shame. So I don't know how you want to take it.
I mean, I think one way, and maybe this isn't addressed in the leaflet, is being able to give people the opportunity to request a paper questionnaire that we would be happy to post out to them. So maybe there's something we can tweak slightly in the leaflet to allow people to contact us, not by email, of course, necessarily to, yeah.
I think there's issues with cost benefit analysis here, because if you're looking at printing a volume and then distributing one per household versus setting up a telephone line with somebody at the end of it, that has a cost as well. So I don't know whether you want to just have a look at that and see whether there is. I mean, I agree with you that we've got a whole raft of vulnerable people out there, elderly people that don't get out much and all this sort of thing, who would, want to be involved in this. I mean, my question is, if you are also able to vote or comment because you work here, how are you going to get to those people? Because at the moment we're just thinking residents. If you work here and you want to comment, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to let them know where they can get all this information, apart from banners and things like that.
I would just challenge the cost benefit thing, because if you're going to print the leaflets, how many do you know? If you're going to print the questionnaires, how many questionnaires do you know you're going to print? It's a bit. I think you understand the point I'm trying to make. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we can provide them with a phone number that we already, or I don't imagine that we're going to be inundated with phone calls necessarily, but we can still give the opportunity for those people who do need paper questionnaires sent to them. We'll be able to do that.
So if I may go on to the questionnaire now, Chairman.
Sorry, I have other councillors who wish to comment at this point. Councillor Emery.
Thank you, Chairman. I mean, I would concur with my colleagues that in terms of digital exclusion, it's really important that we do provide a means by which people who aren't comfortable using digital means to be able to do so. I would suggest, coming on to the issue of the leaflet, is it's relatively straightforward, because all you do is you put a phone number on there and that says, either download this or ring us and we can send you a leaflet. Can I also ask for clarification on the issue of businesses? Is the intention to also circulate these leaflets to all the businesses which are located within the unparished areas? So as that we can get that feedback from people who are working in the area? Or is the intention only to post to residential addresses?
The intention was to post to residential addresses. We can speak to, obviously, as Councillor Walters said, there'll be the banners in the town and so on. So I appreciate not everyone works in the exact town centre. We can also have a look at how we can reach businesses and newsletters and things like that. But the intention wasn't to post to business addresses.
The point being is that within the unparished areas there are some areas of concentration of businesses, such as North Heath Lane. There are a number of businesses in that location, so it would be relatively easy, since I believe that postage is being done by hand, isn't it? We're using students to go and hand them. It couldn't be too difficult to hand deliver to the offices and such like on North Heath Lane or similar.
Yeah, we can have a look at that.
Thank you.
Councillor Murphy, did you put your hand up earlier? No. Okay. Councillor Clark.
Thank you. Before I go on to my next questions, suggestion, based on what Councillor Emery said, use the bid. Talk to the bid. You can use them as a channel of distribution or a channel of communication or whatever you want to call it.
Idea.
As an idea, a thought. Questionnaire. Sports facilities, yeah, I've got that. Question, events. The sort of things that happen on a Saturday and stuff is not in the table. Is that something worth adding? It's just a question. It's, I don't know. In question 3, the question is cost to residents through council tax. Yeah, I guess that's fairly clear. I'm not sure it's clear as it's asked, but I mean, maybe that could be clarified, because I'm not sure people would get it the way the question is asked. And on the question 3, do you feel that you have sufficient information, blah, blah, blah. In it, it says the services any new town council would provide. Well, we don't know what the new town council is going to provide. So the question might be, would provide should be replaced by might provide as a suggestion, because we don't know what's going to happen. How the town council would be managed, not sure the English is correct in that. I mean, I wouldn't have worded it that way, but I mean, maybe I'm just being picky, which is not unusual. At present, decisions made by Horsham District councillors who may live in various parts of the district. This includes decisions on the special charge. This is incorrect, I would argue. The special charge is defined by the ward members of the town and neighbourhood councils, and they come up with a number, which is 700 and whatever the damn number was, I can't remember, because I've had this argument with Dominic Bradley often enough. And so the decision is made by the ward members and members of the neighbourhood councils. I can hear the argument coming, yeah, but the council votes on it at the end and decides on it, and I can hear that one coming, but technically this is not true. Technically, it's determined by the committee of whatever it is, the unparished areas. And I think this needs to be amended, corrected, or to reflect the reality, I would argue. Thank you, that's it.
I can clarify that point. The ultimate decision is made by the council, as you say.
I worked that one out.
Yeah, and the unparished area committee are consulted on the level, and we can include that.
Not at all. Councillor Brooks.
No, I was. Sorry. I was just going to echo that it is an important point to clarify, but it is also important to recall that full council votes on the budget, which includes the recommendation via the cabinet member for finance that has been made to him by the committee that Councillor Clark correctly outlined. But it was the case at the very last budget that there was in fact an amendment proposed specifically regarding the special charge that, had it succeeded, and it didn't in the event succeed, but had it succeeded, would have specifically overridden that recommendation. As it happened, councillors in the whole felt that it wasn't appropriate to override the recommendation of that committee, but it is certainly within the power of the council to do so. Now, these kind of minutiae of process aren't really the kind of things that are going to be easy to communicate in this leaflet. So while I appreciate the desire for clarity, I think Councillor Clark and I are probably more interested than the general person about these details, and I think a balance needs to be struck between accuracy and clarity of communication for a general reader who might find themselves baffled by the kind of details I've just delighted in sharing.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Councillor Vickers.
I think I already asked this, but to measure the success of this consultation, what level of response are we hoping to get?
I think, you know, we would obviously hope to get a really high level. What we'd probably expect is around the 8-9% mark, unfortunately, based on kind of similar consultations that have happened elsewhere.
Okay. Have you got all that? Any other comments? No. Okay. I propose that we now vote on the recommendations, and I'll just remind you what they are. To approve the consultation documents in principle as set out in the appendices to the report, and 2, to delegate authority to the Democratic Services and Elections Manager to amend the consultation documents as she deems appropriate to reflect any comments made by members of this committee or otherwise. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brooks, thank you. Okay, all those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you very much. Motion is carried. Right, there's no urgent business, so I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.